What's up, guys? This is Gecko Guy here. So we're going to be back for my quadcopter build. So this is going to be kind of all over the place. This is going to be a lot of editing, lots of stuff. But that's my GoPro right down there because I'll be soldering and try to get some different camera shots. Anyway, guys, you need yourself a transmitter, 6-channel transmitter or 4. I believe you can get away with a 4-channel. But this is the FlySky FST6. And then I did the LiPo battery mod where I can just plug in an 11.1 volts right into here. And I'm probably going to shorten these up. Yeah, definitely going to shorten those up. Whoops. And there goes my ringtone. Yeah, screw it. Who is it anyways? Oh, it's my lady friend. I'll just wait a couple minutes. But anyway, what you'll need is an X-Acto knife or some scissors for pulling back some of the heat shrink off of the ESC. I couldn't think of the name. Gonna need your hex drivers. I use a factory team. It's like team associated. It's 1/4-inch bits here that are magnetized, so you can put it in a like a power drill. For motors, we have RC Timer HP 1806 2300 kV. I believe I bought 2 clockwise and counterclockwise motors, but when you're soldering on the ESCs, it really doesn't make a matter, or yeah, it doesn't make a difference if you have clockwise or counterclockwise, because you can just change the direction just by switching any 2 wires. So that's what you do, and then it comes with these little prop adapters, and then you're going to need some zip ties for zip tying the ESCs on there. Also, you're going to need some blue thread lock compound. I just bought a new tube of this because I couldn't find my other one. And also I got this. You don't need this for this build, but I bought some 3M command tape, sticky tape, just because it's really good for RC stuff, putting ESCs and taping stuff down. A pair of pliers because we got some, I believe these are 2.5 millimeter, dang it, lock nuts. We've got some RC Timer 5x3 props. We've got my Track Power TK950 soldering station, the Jigs Up soldering station. Need some heat shrink, definitely need some heat shrink. That's just an extension cord. You need some of these for plugging from your receiver to this power. I don't even know what these are called, but it's like the control board. This is the Flip 1.5. This is from the Flight Test Electro Hub build. You can use a power distribution board. It's up to you if you want to do that. You would just, this can take 8 ESCs, but you only need 4, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 to make the connection, and then you solder a battery lead right here, plus and minus. I don't have any black wiring, so I'm going to have to be very careful on which one's my positive and negative lead. We've got a servo tester here. We've got G-Force 1400 mAh 25C3S LiPos. I wanted to get the Turn G Nanotech ones from Hobby King because this exact build, or very similar to it, from RC Model Reviews, he uses the Nanotechs, but these are a lower C burst, so it'll be interesting to see how it flies. I wanted to do Traxxas connectors just so I don't have to solder these battery leads, but I'm gonna have to go with the Dean's connector because that's mostly what I use. I'm trying to get everything to a standard. So yeah, that's the parts that you need. And for ESCs, oh, and you need this to get these lock nuts off, but I wound up just using a pair of pliers for that. For ESCs we have, 12 amp Sky ESCs. These are pretty good. We're gonna have to take the heat shrink off so we can get to these wires right here, because you do not need all of that like that. And also, we're gonna have to take this first plate off right here so we can tuck the wires under there. So yeah, but anyway, I'm not entirely sure where the battery goes. I think does it go there? Maybe? I don't know. I think so. Where does it go in here? I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later. But I think it goes up there. But yeah. And then what I think I'm gonna do is not use the power distribution board. You can solder all of these wires together, the red, 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 black, 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 and then have a battery lead coming off with the Dean's connector or connector of your choice, and that will bypass the power distribution board. Some people like the power distribution boards, some people don't, and that's a matter of preference. Anyway, the first step is to thread lock all of these screws into the motor. So I'm going to do that real quick. So join me in a second. It takes a 1.5 millimeter screw. Damn it. There we go. Let's get it snug in there, not too tight. You go to the other side, cross hatchet, cross stitch, whatever you want to call it. Don't need to over tighten it, just make sure it's nice and snug. Okay. That will do you on the thread locker. Okay, there's that. Whoops. And then mount it on the bottom. Make sure to line up the bearing of the motor like that. Make sure it's centered. So then you take your longer screw, and I'm wondering, is it still 1.5 millimeters? It is still 1.5 millimeter. Okay. Give it a nice little final turn. Again, you don't need to do much, don't get started out. There's our first motor. I probably, yeah, switch that around. I don't want the wires hanging off like this. I suppose I could. Yeah, I'm gonna switch that. Anyway, you gotta need 3 motors. Alright guys, welcome back to the epic build of my quadcopter. So what I wound up doing was, I took a couple of moments just to save some time. I went around the heat shrink and I exposed these 3 wires because you need to desolder these. I exposed the solder here, and gonna have to take these wires off because you're gonna solder the motor directly to the ESC. And as you can see, there's an abundance of wire right here. So I'm probably gonna cut it, if I can get my fingers out of the way, about an inch away. That should be okay. Come on, there we go. As you can see, I went ahead and did the 3 other motors. They are mounted, Loctited up, and they have the little thingamadoodads here where you get your prop and then just screw it on tightly. So the next step, I guess, is to wire it up, and I can tell from you guys already, you guys are going to be cringing at your seats. You're probably going to be chewing your fingernails off right now. You're probably going to destroy your computer chair for what I'm about to do. But we have to cut off these wires. I'm going to do it a little right there. Okay. Trying to make sure I'm still in frame, and it looks like I am. I'm doing it a little bit longer than I said I would, just to give myself a little bit of slack and to give myself a little bit of forgiveness room. There we go. One more set. Right about there. Alright. And then you want to clean as you go, otherwise you're going to have a really big mess. But as you can see right there, that's a lot cleaner. When you get one of these ESCs, zip tie it down. I think I'm going to zip tie one down. And yeah. So then you can see right here, in fact, I might be able to just snap these wires off. Yeah, there it goes. That snapped right off. That came off. There we go. Now we have 3 tabs right here where it's not in the way. And then all you need to do is just kind of expose these. Whoop, come on, in frame here. It's very hard to find in the viewfinder, I'm sorry. But you just got to find right there. And I could even shorten it up a little bit more, but I think I'll just leave it like that, just for a little slack and forgiveness room. That should be alright. And then zip tie it up, solder it, and then, like I said, you take all your red wires and solder it. And do I feel ambitious and get that power distribution board? I don't know. I think I'll just stick with soldering all the wires together. Anyways, guys, that's what you do next, is to solder all these, and I'll do a quick little soldering thing. I'll try to do a little bit of soldering as far as my transmitter. There's going to be a lot of soldering today, and as far as quadcopter building, there's really no way to get around soldering unless you want to do really long bullet connectors. Soldering you're going to get really good at if you build a quadcopter. That's just something that comes naturally, I guess. And you know, I started off with the really crappy soldering skills, but you know, practice makes perfect, and this one is being a real pain in the butt. But anyway, that's what you do next, is you just solder. And luckily I don't need to fiddle around and desolder these. I can just snap these right off. So, and also guys, as far as soldering, it makes a whole difference. It makes it so much easier if you have a really nice expensive soldering station. $100 for the Track Power TK950 there. It's all you're ever gonna need. Zoom out, there we go. It is one of the nicest soldering stations I've ever used. It's got a variable temperature, and I will show that a little bit later. But also it makes it very easy to have a jigs up soldering station. These are very nice, I like those. And also guys, carbon fiber is conductive, so you want to make sure to insulate your wires. Now what I'm probably going to do is just dab over it with a little bit of Plasti Dip. I got some liquid Plasti Dip. So that'll be the next step, is soldering. Alright guys, for this next part you need your battery. This is GeForce 1400 mAh 3S LiPo. We have this all hooked up. We have it nice and soldered up. I will show my soldering job. I'm not the greatest at soldering, but that's functional and that's what it will do. It'll do for now. I basically went in a straight line. I went A, B, C, I guess. I didn't switch the wires around. So then what we do is just we get our servo tester here and then just kind of touch the knob, and it's spinning in an anti-clockwise, so in a this way direction, and a leftward circle. Clockwise would be right, a rightward circle. And then what you do here is you take your battery leads from the ESC. You don't need to put a connector on. Make sure you get red to red and black to black, otherwise you will have a pretty light show. Alright, this is going to be really hard to do. Try to do it this way. But anyway. Whoop. Probably can't even see that. There we go, we just tested it. Alright, so that is good. Boom, we can get rid of this. Alright, so $8 on eBay, and I will post links of where I got everything. Moving on to the next ESC, moving on to the next set of motors. So I think you can understand that, and if you got one that spins in the opposite direction, just switch 2 wires around. So this one is spinning anti-clockwise, so the one across from it also has to match that anti-clockwise, or counterclockwise as some people call it. So I'm going to do a cut in this video and just come back and do that once I am all done. Alright, so the next step here, I'll show you a little bit about soldering. I'm not the world's greatest solderer, however you want to pronounce it. But anyway, I use rosin core 6040 because that's what Squirrel Odd lives and stands by. So anyway, here, tin the wires a bit. Make sure to do this in a well ventilated area. I like to just puff the smoke out of my face. That's all you really need. Alright, clean this up a little bit. And I'm a baby when it comes to really hot wires, so I like to take some pliers. Pliers, get them framed. There we go. So anyway, just kind of take a wire and then just connect whatever 3. Alright, so let's try to do this and kind of bending the wires a tad bit. And I'm not even in frame. Okay. These are kind of picky wires, and it's very tricky to try to shimmy my hand around because it's such a tight space, and I'm really sorry if I'm getting out of frame. Maybe back it up a bit. Let's try this wire. I'm just going to go straight across, and if I've got one that needs to be switched, just switch any 2 wires and you have the opposite direction of the motor. And I know this is not going to be in frame here because I'm trying to see what I'm doing. Alright. 1 wire down, 2 to go. Okay. Alright. Give it a little bend. You can bend it out of the way later. My hand is really shaky, I don't know why. And you want to hold it for about 5 seconds, and that was a really crappy job. I'm going to redo that. Actually, that is on there, but I don't know. Want to make sure to have good connection all the way around. It's hard being a videographer sometimes. Not quite. Gotta get that down a bit. Clean your tip, make sure to have your little wet sponge. Always important to have that. Whoa. There. That was a good one. Good connection. Let's try to redo this. This one is just being a tricky little bugger. That should be good though. We're just testing it anyway. I can add a little blob of solder. So, this is my connectors. Get this servo tester. Put it in here like this. Back you out. So silver prongs coming towards you. Take your battery. And again, black to black, red to red. Don't cross the beams. If you know what movie reference that's from, more power to you. Not so sure about their all-female reboot though. Come on, don't be tricky. Okay, and we have an anti-clockwise pattern. So that matches these two. Surprisingly, that went very well. So these two are anti-clockwise, which is good. Then you'll want to double check that once you're completely done, and a good way that Flight Test recommends is to put a little tape. But if you keep the speed low enough on the servo tester, you shouldn't have to do that. So I'm gonna solder the other two, and then I'm gonna tidy up the wiring, and then I'll show you the next part. That's where you solder on your power distribution or decide to solder on all your leads together. Alright guys, we are back. I decided to use the power distribution board. I know this is probably not the best place for the power distribution board, but I tried to tidy up the wires as clean as I could. I think it turned out pretty good. Just need to solder a battery connector on there and then get my receiver and all that junk going. But I think that's pretty tidy for what I normally do. And also, I went ahead and soldered on all the motors. And then with the 3S LiFos you guys saw, I soldered on a Dean's connector. So yeah, there's just a couple more things I need to do, which is really get this battery lead going, and then all I gotta do now is just get this thingy right here all situated and bind up my receiver, and it should be ready to go. So that's just a quick little update in this little project here. Alright guys, build is just about complete. Got everything all hunkered down. I had to re-screw these down because I had all my wires coming through here. Got my battery lead right there. Whoa, hello. Still a hot iron. I've been at this build for a good 2-3 hours. So plenty long for my power leads. And maybe if I wanted to, I could use those spare blank ones here for putting LEDs on my my arms here, but that's for another day. I have actually not even opened this. Bought it, never opened it. So this is brand new for me. You guys are seeing it, I'm seeing it. Alright. Whoa, okay. Why is this case all crappy like that? Came apart. That shouldn't do that. Okay. Is there any hardware that comes in it? Well, that's really, yeah, there is hardware in it. Sweet. And it takes 4 little screws. Okay. And it tells you motors and all that. And I believe I can actually shut off my soldering iron. So that would be nice. Put my soldering stuff out of the way. Get this out of the way. Boom, bam. Alright, so I'm going to pause and try to figure this out on my own and come back.